You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast with your dating coach, Trip, from tripadvice.com. Do you struggle with getting girls to like you? You'll learn step by step how to talk to girls to create deep connections, whether it be for one night of wild fun, a 1-week fling.
Are you currently involved in a sexual relationship?
Or for a lifelong partner.
Full of long-lasting pleasure.
Here's your host, Trip.
Hey, welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip, from tripadvice.com, and this episode is sponsored by Spartagen XT, your resource to boosting your libido in the bedroom. This is an all-natural supplement filled with herbs and filled with vitamins, and this is meant to help you maintain erections, not finish so fast in the bedroom, and overall have better performance. And I highly recommend this because I've used it myself and it has done a lot of wonders for me. So if you're interested in learning more about Spartagen XT and how it can help you in the bedroom with the girls that you're already with or the girls that you want to meet, then go to SpartanLibido.com. Again, that's SpartanLibido.com. That's in the show notes. SPARTAN Libido, LIBIDO.com. Go check it out today. Now, today's episode, we have a voicemail. Yes, we haven't done this in a while, and I apologize because I've been so busy actually doing some really cool interviews with a lot of people. So if you've been keeping up with the podcast and listened to all the recent episodes, then you have heard that there have been some really cool interviews, and I suggest you go back and check those out. Seriously, all these episodes coming at you every week bring a lot of value, and I'm not just trying to spit out the same type of information every episode. There's so much to go over. There's so many different things to learn when it comes to attracting and talking to girls, and there's even stuff that you need to learn once you start dating someone. Then there's stuff you need to learn once you start to get into a relationship. So this is the podcast that's going to help you from step A to Z, all the way from the beginning to the first time you open up your mouth to a girl, all the way to the fact that maybe this is a girl you want to get engaged to and get married to. That's right. We're doing everything from beginning to end. And this episode is going to be something special. Like I said, we got a voicemail here, and it's from someone in, I think he said North Carolina. I don't remember, but we're going to play it in just a second. I just heard it recently. But what's cool about this is he's asking a question about, what if you're too busy? What if you're too busy at work? What if you're too busy with school? What if you're too busy doing other things? Yet at the same time, you really do want to learn how to get better with women. What are you supposed to do? What is going to be the way for you to get better at this? Well, we're going to answer that question here today and give you some real life situations that I've been in myself as a busy guy, and how I got through it, and how, if you're listening, how you can get through it too. So if you have a lot of work going on, if you have other things that you just want to accomplish, maybe you're not just trying to focus only on girls, you want to accomplish a lot of stuff. Maybe you're getting your master's right now. Maybe you have a job that takes up all your time. Maybe you have a lot of money issues and you're trying to solve that with working a lot. Maybe, who knows, you got a dog and a cat and they need attention too, right? So there's all this stuff going on that you need help with in terms of how to budget your time and how to really balance this part in your life of meeting women. So we're going to go over that in just a second. Now, if you want to get a free course called Conversation That Gets You Dates, which is one of my favorite courses because it's all about how to talk to girls, well, you can get that. It's really simple. All you got to do is go to iTunes and leave a review in iTunes for the How to Talk to Girls podcast. You're like, wait, where is this going? Huh? How am I going to get the course by going to iTunes? Well, if you leave a review and you take a screenshot of it and email it to me, trip@tripadvice.com, I will send you access to the course. That is right. You will get the membership details to access that course, and then you can really learn how to talk more to girls, because it's a 2-hour program from beginning to end about how to have conversations with the girls that you meet. So if you want to get that, leave a review, send it to me, and we'll get you set up with that. All right, cool. So let's not wait any longer. Here is a awesome voicemail from someone who just called in recently about being too busy, and then we'll go into answering it. Here it is.
Yo, Trip, thanks so much for your podcast. I have a little problem. I pretty much work a lot, and that is my focus. I am working really, really hard, and I am putting my life together, and I am 18 years old here in North Carolina. There's not much here, so I don't have much access to bars and all that other stuff. But, you know, I'm studying a lot of things, and my problem is that my focus is not on women. And the thing is that I don't know if this is going to affect me in the future. I'm going to be worse with women after I become that guy that starts wanting girls. And that's really my question, probably summing up how to get girls for busy people or for productive people. All right, Trent. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really always appreciate the guys that call in and who are bold enough to ask their question and, you know, try to get it answered, because really you're not just helping yourself, but you're helping all the other guys who are listening to this podcast episode. So let's get into it. What do you do if you're too busy to date? What do you do if you don't have the time to focus on women? Well, you asked an interesting question. You said this, and this was a very smart question you asked. Not a lot of people are thinking about it like this, and this is the first kind of clue and hint to what you should be doing. Okay, so you said this. You said, right now your focus is not on women, and I quote, will it affect you in the future? Okay, so you said, will it affect you in the future? Well, let's think about this very logically, and if you've listened to this podcast, been watching my videos on YouTube for a long time, you know that I like to think very logically in situations like this, right? Will it affect you in the future? Well, let's just say you wanted to become a great basketball player. And of course, I'm always using basketball as an analogy to meeting women. Why? I don't know. It just works so well. It's so easy to use. So what if you wanted to become good at basketball and you said, hey, I'm not going to be playing basketball right now, but you know, as soon as I can, I really want to get good with girls. Will it affect my basketball playing in the future if I don't focus on meeting women right now? Will it affect me? Well, of course it will affect you. Very obvious, right? Like, you knew I was going to come to this conclusion. If you're not going to learn basketball now, aka if you're not going to learn how to meet women now, because really meeting women is similar to basketball only in the sense that it is sort of a skill. There are skills involved in meeting women. And because you're not honing in on that skill early enough, well, you're not going to get good at being able to date, meet women. You're not going to be able to get good at really understanding the kind of woman that you want. So here's one thing that I can say now, because I'm much older, you know, I'm 30, almost 31 years old. So I've had some experience now that I can kind of draw back from in terms of relationships, dating, all those things, right? And I can say that one of the reasons why you do want to start young is because you want to start collecting memories and points in your life that you can look back on, really, that give you certain experiences with women that you can, in some sense, use in the future. So what am I saying? I'm basically saying that if you start dating now at 18 years old, mind you, you will be changing. You're going to be a completely different person at 30 years old, 40 years old, even 25 years old. But either way, you're starting at a point where you can start hopefully dating, getting a girlfriend, getting into a relationship if that's what you want, even having a lot of sex if that's what you want, whatever it is. So then you can kind of compare in the future, right? So let's just say, for example, right now you start to go out, you meet a lot of girls, and you start to have a lot of sex, right? Well, that's great. You're experiencing more sex. That means you can get better at sex as you get older. But then you're going to slowly learn that there's certain things that you like sexually. And you're never going to know that stuff unless you're actually going out there and having sex. Now, if you want a relationship, you're looking for a girlfriend, there's a lot of different types of girls out there. And you're going to start learning more about what it is that you want in a relationship when you enter more and more relationships. So if you end up getting a girlfriend, let's just say whatever, now if you're 18, now if you're 25 and you haven't really had much experience, well, you got to start experiencing that girl so you can learn about what you like and what you don't like. Because if it doesn't work out with this girl, and let's be honest, if this is your first girlfriend, most likely chances are it's not. Okay, if it's your first very serious girlfriend, there's a lot of statistics that say you'll be dating multiple people in your life and you'll have multiple partners. And so with that being said, it's good to learn now about the types of girls, what women are like in relationships, what that's all like. And like I said before, if it's just sex you're after right now, learning about how women are in the bedroom, how they are in the bedroom and how you are in the bedroom. So you can start kind of looking back and seeing like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I want. See, one thing, and I don't really explain this a lot in my YouTube channel. That's why I have a podcast, so I can rant about really important things and go into big details. But one thing I don't really talk about much is this idea of knowing about what you want. Right now, that may not be a concern to you because you're so new. Maybe. Okay, I don't know. There's a lot of different types of people listening to this podcast, but maybe you don't know at this point what it is that you want. But it's actually kind of crazy that knowing what you want is one of the best things in the world. And you may know that right now. This is what you want. But I promise you, if you haven't had any experience with women in dating, sex, anything, relationships, you may know what you want, but you don't. It's not possible because you haven't experienced it. So you have nothing to draw and compare to. Because what you think you want right now out of girl sex relationships, you might end up experiencing and then say to yourself, oh, I don't really like that. Or you're going to just kind of change and grow as a person, and you're going to learn that you don't like something over another thing. And again, it's the experience. This is kind of my long drawn out point right now, is that it's the experience that is going to be your greatest teacher. Okay? Quote me on that one. Tweet that one out. Experience is your greatest teacher. In fact, I never really do things like that. So if you have Twitter, I want you to tweet at me right now. Follow me on Twitter. It's just Trip Advice with 2 P's. Tweet at me. Experience is your greatest teacher, because that's really what I think the lesson here for this week is. And that's why, yes, you did not give your name, but yes, you from I think you said North Carolina. Still don't remember. But yes, that you do want to start as soon as possible, because it will affect you in the future. It will absolutely 100% affect you in the future. You want to start that. Now, I don't want anyone to kind of freak out. I feel like I could be saying this and someone is like 25, 30, and they're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything yet. Blah, 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 blah. That's okay. I want you to be grateful right now that you're listening to this podcast and that you're actually seeing today. This could be a very big day for you. Listen to this podcast saying to yourself, wow, I got to start putting work into this. Because maybe you never were going to come across this episode and hear that. Right? So instead of looking back and saying, oh, I wasted all my time, or maybe you're really young, you're 18 years old, you're listening to this and you're like, oh gosh, I need to get started or else Trip says I'm going to be screwed. No, you're not going to be screwed. You're going to be fine. The point is that you know now, in this very moment in your life, in this very second, you know now that it is something that you should start working on. That's why I'm always preaching taking action. Always preaching taking action, from the stuff that I'm telling you on all the stuff that I put out there. So, got to take action. Now, let's go into the how, because right now you're probably thinking, all right, well, Trip, great. I know it's going to affect me in the future. I know this is something I need to do now, but I freaking can't because I'm busy, because I work a lot, because I have other focuses, because I have other things important in my life, because I don't have time to do it. Okay, well, let me tell you a little bit of a story. If you don't know my background already, maybe some of you do, maybe you don't, but either way, I'm going to repeat myself because it's good to tell this story regarding the lesson that we're talking about today. And basically, it's a story of when I first started. I first started putting this stuff into action at a time where I was very busy in my life. In fact, at a time where I was very lost in my life. It was obviously way before I was doing Trip Advice, and it was at a time when I was learning how to meet girls. And I wanted to learn very badly how to do it. Now, I'll give it to you. It was a little bit easier for me because I really, 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 really wanted to learn it. Yes, I said really that many times because you have to know that I really wanted to make it happen. And it was that drive inside of me that made me really become who I am today, teaching this stuff. Well, not necessarily. There's a lot of people who are good at this stuff who don't who aren't teachers. I just got really obsessed with this idea of the fact that guys can learn this stuff. That's why I've started a podcast, YouTube channel, and all that stuff. So I want guys to know they can learn this stuff. Okay, getting off track. I'm always ranting and getting off track. So I really wanted it, right? I really wanted it, and that was one of the things that drove me to do it. So because of that drive inside of me, and maybe you have that drive too, I hope you do. Because that drive inside of me, it made me figure out a way that I could learn how to get better with girls so I could have the skills that I wanted to, so I can get a great relationship, so I can have sex with the women that I wanted, so I can start creating those experiences for myself, because I knew that it was important that I did that, especially because I'm in my early to mid 20s at this point, more like early 20s. And I wanted to learn this stuff, and it was very difficult because I didn't have any friends around me, really. I was in Los Angeles, and I had only a couple here and there, but I didn't have lots and lots of friends to draw upon to go out and do this, so I had to kind of learn it on my own. And having a lack of friends was hard for me because I didn't get introduced to girls a lot, barely ever. So this was just, everything was kind of working against me. But I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to figure out how I could do it. But what was my problem? I had a time-consuming job. I was working at a production company in the entertainment business, in film production. And I was working there, and my hours were pretty nuts. They were like 9 to 7 o'clock. And I know some of you probably are listening, you're like, Trip, that's nothing, bro. I'm working like 7 to 9, or like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., crazy hours. Trust me, I feel you. But either way, let's not, take away from the fact that working way more than a 9 to 5 was very difficult. I'll give it to you. I did have weekends off, and that helped. But either way, I wanted to further my career in the entertainment world. So I was still doing things when I got home. I was still doing some work on the weekend. I was definitely putting in a lot of time and energy into my work. And of course, I wanted to still have fun and relax and have my, everyone has their relaxing times, watching their TV shows, reading a book, working out, things like that. And so I had all these things I wanted to do at once. And I thought, how am I going to be able to do this? So again, this all really comes back to the fact of how bad I really wanted it and how I would do anything to make this happen. So I ended up sitting down and really scheduling out what I wanted my life to look like in terms of getting better in this world. And it was really cool too, because this area of becoming a better man and more authentic and more attractive kind of led me into this whole personal development path, which a lot of guys end up finding through learning how to meet girls, which is kind of funny. So now I wanted to do a lot more than just meet girls, right? I wanted to get better at my job and move up in my work. I wanted to learn how to meet girls. I wanted to start working out. I wanted to start, being more fit, right? I wanted to do all this stuff. So I sat down and I scheduled it out. And I thought, where in my life can I fit this in? And I thought, well, I could do the weekends, but I kind of knew that if I just went out on the weekends to learn and practice talking to girls and going out, that wasn't really going to be enough. Okay, so then I thought, well, I got to put in some weekday action. Okay, fine. Well, weekdays, well, that's tough. I get off at 7 o'clock and I live like an hour from home. And then I got to shower, then I got to get ready, then I got to go out. And by that time, it's like 9:30 on a weeknight. Oh, well, I got to do what I got to do because I really want to learn this stuff. Okay, fine. So I scheduled in a couple nights a week. And then I did the weekends. And for you, by the way, I just want to say, if you're listening and you're like, Trip, whoa, weekdays, this is really intense. I can just do weekends. I can find time on the weekends. You know what? Fine, great. If you can do that, then fantastic. I want you to be able to put anything you can into this. If you can go out Friday night, Saturday night, maybe Sunday day, go out, start approaching, talking to women, get some cold approaches down and use some of these techniques that I've been teaching you, great, do that. That's, let's say you do that a couple times in the weekend, that's two times in a weekend, that's 8 times in a month, 8 times 12. What's 8 times 12? I think that's like 96. That's a lot of times to go out in a whole year. You will absolutely get better. And if you're 18 years old and you're doing that, well, hey man, that's way more than I did when I was 23, 24 years old, just starting this journey, right? So my point is that anything counts. Yes, I went balls out, right? I was going balls out on this, going out 3 to 4 nights a week. Great. And you know what? Here's another thing I did. I did this even when I was not on vacation days. I actually would go out every night for like 3 weeks straight, kind of create like a streak going, okay? Create a streak going so I can really build and build and build and build and work on this stuff and get more numbers and get more dates and talk to more girls and learn more about women, right? Now, you don't have to do that. I did it only a couple of times over the course of maybe 2 years where I'd go out that many times in a row. But hey, if you have vacation time, what a great time to do it. If it's something that you really want to learn, you really want to do, why don't you use that vacation time? Use that vacation time to do everything, right? Do some relaxing during the day, then go out at night and talk to girls, or vice versa. So my point here is, and I'll give you some more tips soon, but my point here is that there's always going to be time for you to go out. You can always create time. You can always create time, even if it's a couple times a month, which is not that much, I will admit. I kind of want you to do it more than that, but I'm sure in your crazy, hectic life, there is a couple of hours. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, by the way. It doesn't have to be like this 12-hour session of going out. No, go out for a couple of hours. Maybe you're going out a couple hours during the week, couple hours on the weekend. Anything helps. Okay, anything helps. And it depends. If you're sitting here and you're like, well, Trip, I want to take this all the way. I really want to get better and I want to get better faster. Well, then you want to go out as much as you can to experience and have as many experiences as you can. And still, after all said and done, if you're like, Trip, there's just other things in my life right now that are more important and I can't fit it in, well, then there's nothing I can tell you. There's really nothing. There's no magic solution at that point. This is obviously not a priority to you, and that's okay. I'm not saying this has to be a priority. It's really up to you. I'm assuming it's some sort of priority if you're listening right now because you are listening to this podcast. So you are carving out some time in your life to learn more about meeting and attracting girls. Again, because you're hearing the words right now as they come through your speaker. Okay? So if that's the case, then I urge you, because you're showing interest, that this is something that I can tell is important to you just from that alone, that you carve out even just a little time, whatever you can do, couple hours a week, couple hours a month, and hopefully consistent. That's the key too. It's not just about time put in, it's about consistency. Think about it basketball-wise. You want to learn how to get good at basketball? Well, there's a lot of things involved, dribbling, shooting, slam dunking, passing, all these things. 3-pointers. Got to learn all this stuff. Free throws. So do you think you're going to get good at something like that if you do it a couple times a month? And then you wait 6 months and do it again? I get it. Life gets in the way. Life is tough. But let me tell you something. If you really want to succeed at anything, everything that you want to master takes time and takes work. Here's the great news. Again, listen to more podcast episodes. Go to the YouTube channel. I'm teaching you techniques and stuff to make this even faster for you. Okay? That's one of the benefits of sticking around and listening to this stuff and absorbing all this information and learning from my guests that I have every week. Okay? So I want you to start figuring out in your schedule where could it go and just have fun with it. Don't even take out your schedule and make it like it's official, like, oh, just play around. Let's just see. Put in where you could go out. Where could it happen? Because there's really no better time to start anything than right now. And that's one of my favorite questions. It's like one of these nice little motivational kind of quotes, when's the best time to do anything? Right now. Why not? Why wouldn't you start right now? What's holding you back? We can all make excuses, but I promise you that there's no excuse that can stop you from getting what you want. Okay? So let me finish more of the story I was telling you about how I kind of did all this, right? So let me just tell you how crazy my schedule was. Here's a sample week for me doing all this stuff, okay? Let's start with Monday. Okay, Monday, wake up at around, 7 a.m., shower, do my thing, commute to work. Now I'm at work. During work, I would be not listening to podcasts because there wasn't really anything around at that point to listen to, but I would go on forums, read stuff, learn about just, what it took to really go and approach women and all those things. And, what to say and how to keep conversation going and how to become attractive and blah, blah, blah. All that good stuff like you're doing right now with this podcast. And then I would go home pretty much right away after work, scarf down some food, drink a ton of water to keep myself hydrated, to keep my body energized, meet someone out at a bar or a club, go out, approach, talk to girls, hopefully get some numbers, come home at around 1 a.m., go to sleep, wake up exhausted, maybe take a break for Tuesday, Wednesday go out again, Thursday go out again. Sometimes I'd skip Wednesday and do Thursday. Then I would do Friday because what a great night to go out. And again, still going to bed late, waking up early, being exhausted. Saturday, sleep in a little bit, go out during the day on Saturday, go out at night Saturday night. Maybe, depending on how tired I was, go out Sunday day. That was like a normal week for me for many, many weeks. And again, I'm just an average guy. And I was able to go out, learn this stuff, learn how to do it naturally and not with some pickup artist BS, and do this in a way that got me results fast and got me good fast. And that's what I want for you, okay? That's what I want for you who's listening to this episode and still with me. So play around with it. See where you can do it. Challenge yourself a bit. See what it's like. Experiment. Even if it seems like a crazy week, do it once and see how hard it really is, because you never really know. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard, but I got used to it. Doing that for a couple weeks, it was really no big deal. In fact, it's crazy to really see how much time you have on your hands when it's not being filled every minute with something. Because, if I were to take a week off, I'd be like, wow, I have so much time. It really kind of it makes you grateful about time and how you spend it. It's just kind of crazy how that all works. So I urge you to check that out. I hope that answered your question today. I hope you've taken away some good stuff here. Just remember, no better time to start anything than right now. Okay? This is Trip signing off. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to check out SpartanLibido.com to check out Spartagen XT, the all-natural supplement for boosting your libido. And send me a voicemail, 323-432-0025. I'll answer your question just like I did this guy's on this episode. Call in. Talk to you soon. Peace out.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. Over 18 and want a question answered on the podcast? Email all your questions to trip@tripadvice.com.